Harkon is stupid. And I don't even mean that in a bad way. I mean that Harkon is stupidly overpowered. As someone who's got the Mastery Harkon skin, I'm not bragging by the way, I've noticed how many people are saying that Harkon is skills to use. To that I say, no she is not. You have to be an absolute moron to not use her properly, and I haven't lost a single killer match unless I was actively trying to lose. And I literally have proof of why I think this is, and why I think that Harkon... Let's talk about the encounter box. Firstly, wow is it massive. I don't even think that you need me to tell you to even realise that. Combined with the fact that Dawn of Death hitboxes are even worse than Forsaken's, which I don't even know how is possible, you've got a recipe for an overpowered killer. Not only that, but Harkon's hitbox, if I'm correct, is moved in front of her. That's the same as Punch, but on literal steroids. And as for the Rage and Chain, we'll get to that, we sure will. But for now, let's move on to Repress. Repress is a relatively weak move, and to be honest, the only one I feel is even slightly wait, what? They got replaced this update? Agitation. As read straight from the game, Harkon briefly slows down and sends out a pulse of energy, creating shockwaves that can go through walls. Harkon summons a shockwave in front of them, being able to hit an individual civilian. By this attack will be flung upwards and take notable chip damage. Agitation is a relatively short cooldown and generates a sizable chunk for your noise meter upon usage, making it useful for charging up / activating rage or maintaining rage itself while chasing somebody down. Did you catch that? While on its own it isn't that bad, there's one part of it that makes it unbalanced. I'll give you just a second to think about it. That's right, the survivor takes chip damage. 15 to be exact. This ability is just like Repress mixed with Revolver, keeping all the good sides of both. Revolver's short wind-up time cooldown, check. Repress's noise, check. The only thing that's different is that it requires a tiny amount of skill to use, unlike most of her other abilities. Not only that, but before, Harkon couldn't really do anything against a good move pro except for perhaps, using her massive M1 to hit through the wall, or Tangle's massive hitbox. But no, now you've got a ranged attack that goes through walls because that's what we totally needed. Harkon is slowly becoming like one extra from Forsaken and that's making me a bit angry. Anyways, now we're going to move on to... Remember how, Harkon is supposed to be a glass cannon killer? As low health but big damage output? And how it's like the only downside to using her? Well, throw that out the window because obviously there has to be a move that negates that fully. Tangle, as read straight from the game, Harkon quickly manifests a light javelin in her hand and tosses it forwards as a projectile. It will be changed to Harkon and pulled towards her in a straight line. Harkon and the chained civilian will also regenerate some health. While a civilian is chained to Harkon, they will take 25% more damage from all sources. If Harkon is stunned, or if the linked civilian gets far enough away from Harkon, the chain will shatter, freeing the civilian but also generating some noise for Harkon. Tangle takes the chunk of noise regardless if it hits a civilian or not. So deals 25% more damage, on top of the 25% more damage on, rage. Can I tell you what that does? It means that if any move that takes away health is selected, Harkon can 3-shot. Now imagine how many times you can hit someone with a 1 second M1 cooldown, while they are stunned from missing a move. And now you see my problem with this. But that isn't even my only problem. Harkon the chained civilian will also regenerate some health. Harkon regenerates 50 health, enough to survive 2 more punches and 1 more gunshot, while they originally only could have survived 8 gunshots. See the problem? Do you see now why Harkon is so busted? Wait, because we still need to talk about another ability in the passive. Next up is Immolate. Immolate deals 100 damage to you and gives you 15 extra noise on your rage meter. You can't use it while enraged. Perfect. I really like this ability because it makes Harkon shed 100 HP, really making me believe that she is meant to be a glass cannon killer. Well, yes, Tangle does sort of negate this. It's a really neat move. What made it better is that the old version of Agitate, Repress, did exactly 15 rage, perfect to get even more rage off of comboing 2 moves, if the team's incompetent. I don't know why they changed it, but I liked the old version more. Anyway, that's all I have. Now on to the passive. As said perfectly from the game, when Harkin is an active killer, all abilities will generate noise, and Harkin has a passive, noise meter. When making noise, you'll be highlighted to Harkin if they are close enough to you, along with filling up a chunk of her noise meter. Walking or running does not generate noise, but taking damage from a killer does. When Harkin's noise meter is full, she will enter her enraged state, greatly increasing her movement speed but lowering her stamina down to 94. Her noise meter will also begin to passively drain slowly while in her enraged state. Something that isn't said is that Harkin gets a 1.25x damage boost, which, doesn't seem that bad on its own, but as I said in the Tangle section, stacks. And I also believe it works the same as for Agitate, correct me if I'm wrong, and if it does, then Agitate, which dealt 15 damage before with a cooldown of 15-2, will deal 23 damage from both Enraged and Tangle. Just more than an M1. Not too crazy, but 8 extra damage can build up, and fast. The last section for this video will be some random stuff about her. Did you know that Tangle increases every single hit of damage on the survivor? This includes other killers, which isn't nice in one bounce, or double trouble. Not only that, but killers actually feed Harkin's rage meter. This makes them a menace in one bounce or double trouble, as everyone is in the same places at the same time. Well, that's all I have for this video. Don't get me wrong, Harkin is an incredibly fun killer, but, they're too overpowered, which is why I made this video.